Welcome to a deep dive, folks. We're all about self-focus this time around. Like how do we really harness that inner power?
And we've got a juicy one to unpack.
Oh yeah, we're diving deep into the world of Neville Goddard.
That's right. And specifically, his ideas about, well, you could say self-focus as this creative force in our lives.
I love it. And get this, we're going all in on a single source for this deep dive, but trust me, it's packed with enough juice to keep us buzzing for a while.
Oh, I bet. What's the source material this time?
It's a YouTube video. You can find it on the Infinite Motivation channel. It's called Focus on Yourself, Stop Wasting Your Time, Neville Goddard Motivation.
Okay, I'm getting those buckle up vibes already. What's the core idea here?
You know how I'm always up for a good thought experiment? Well, Goddard throws out this really powerful metaphor, and it just clicked for me. He wants us to treat our lives literally, like they're masterpieces in progress.
I love that. So we're not just talking about some surface level self-help stuff here.
No way.
Yeah.
This goes deeper. See, Goddard, he's not just serving us a plate of motivational fluff, you know? He's making this bold statement, almost like a challenge, that we're not just these passive observers floating through life. We are creators.
That's a powerful way to put it. And he uses that Craftsman analogy to, really drive that point home, doesn't he?
He does. It's like he's saying, imagine, if you will, a master craftsman completely absorbed in their work.
And they're not looking around, all distracted by what everyone else is doing, or second-guessing themselves.
Totally. They're not hung up on their doubts or worried about some future mistake they haven't even made yet.
Their whole world, it's like it shrinks down to that workshop, those tools, that singular vision they're pouring themselves into.
Yes. It's like their focus is so intense, everything else just fades away. And Goddard's saying, hey, why not treat your own life with that same laser focus?
So we're talking about getting intentional with our energy. But how does that actually play out in our daily lives?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting for me, and I think it might for you too. Goddard, he's not just saying, think positive and poof, good things will magically appear.
Right, it's deeper than that.
Way deeper. He's talking about imagination as this active force. And I don't mean zoning out and daydreaming. I'm talking about focused imagination. That kind of imagination that's so real, so infused with feeling that it has the power to reshape your reality.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff.
Yeah.
So he's saying our minds are like this workshop where creation begins.
Exactly. And our imagination, those are our tools. Just like a skilled craftsperson wouldn't use, rusty, dull tools.
Right, they take pride in their craft, they respect their tools.
Goddard's saying we need to become masters of our own minds. No more passively letting our thoughts run wild, right?
So it's time to stop wasting time on that mental clutter. Declutter that mind.
Yes. And this is where it gets really real. He's really hitting on this point that the world, the one we experience, it's like a mirror reflecting back our internal state.
So if we're constantly dwelling on negativity, if we're consumed by worry or stuck in that comparison trap.
We're basically inviting that energy into our reality.
Exactly. And that's where the stop wasting time part comes in.
It's not about just being busy, is it? It's about aligning our actions with that inner truth we're cultivating in our mental workshops.
You got it. Our actions have to be aligned with our thoughts. Our inner and outer worlds, they have to be in sync.
Okay, I'm with you. So every moment we're spending on distractions, on that mental clutter, it's like we're taking away from the masterpiece, right? It's like that quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
It's all about mindset.
But Goddard, he takes it a step further, don't you think?
Oh, he does. Definitely does. What do you think he'd say?
It's like he'd look you dead in the eye and say, whether you think you're living your dream life or you're stuck in a rut, you're right.
Because it all stems from that internal state, from what's going on in that mental workshop of ours.
I love that. But how do we actually start putting this into practice? How do we go from being accidental architects of our own misery, and let's be real, I think we've all been there, to becoming these conscious creators?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Well, Goddard, he really hammers home the importance of awareness.
Okay, so self-awareness is key.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
It all starts with noticing where our thoughts go. Like when you find yourself, spiraling down into that negativity or getting channeled up in worry, what happens?
It's like our minds have a life of their own sometimes.
They do. But we don't have to let them run the show. Goddard would tell us to hit the pause button. Gently hit it. Just notice those thoughts.
It's like hitting the reset button, bringing that focus back to what truly matters.
Yes. And this might sound deceptively simple, but it's profound. Goddard suggests we start paying attention to our thoughts. Like, really pay attention.
So being mindful of that mental chatter, that constant inner monologue.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. We're becoming aware of our thoughts. What's next?
It's not just about observing, though, is it? It's like what we do in NXT.
Okay, so we're catching those thoughts. What then?
Well, Goddard would say, don't get swept away. Like, don't let those negative thoughts carry you off.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that. It's so easy to get pulled into that downward spiral.
Right. And instead of going along for that ride, Goddard says, gently redirect your attention.
Back to ourselves.
Back to the present moment, like right here, right now. Back to that inner landscape where you're the master craftsman,
It's like, okay, worry, I see you trying to sneak back in, but I'm busy building my dream life over here.
Yes, exactly. It's about making that conscious choice. Where are you putting your energy? What are you feeding?
Makes sense. And this is where things get really interesting, I think, because this is where Goddard brings in the idea of desire.
Oh, yeah. Desire plays a huge role in his teachings.
It does. It's like he doesn't see our desires as these, like, frivolous wants, like, oh, I want a new car or whatever.
He sees them as something deeper.
Way deeper. He sees them as these divine impulses, these seeds of possibility that are planted within us. Like, they're there for a reason.
I love that. So we're not supposed to deny our desires. We're supposed to lean into them.
Yes, exactly. It's about treating them as these sacred nudges from the universe, guiding us towards our potential.
And our job is to nurture those desires, to focus our attention on them, to water those seeds with that powerful imagination we talked about earlier.
Oh, this is so good, because it reminds me of something I struggle with, like that whole what about setbacks question,
Yeah. What happens when life throws you a curveball?
Exactly. Like what happens when things don't go according to plan, when our external reality doesn't match up with the masterpiece we're creating internally? Does that mean we're doing something wrong?
That's such a good question. And it's where Goddard's message gets even more powerful, I think.
Okay, so what would he say?
He'd tell you, those challenges, those external circumstances, they don't define your true reality.
So even if things look messy on the outside, it
Right.
doesn't mean we're failing.
Not at all. Those external things, they're just reflections of past thoughts and beliefs.
Yeah.
Echoes from our workshop that might need a little cleaning up,
Okay, so even if things are rough right now, we still have the power to change our internal landscape. And eventually our outer world will catch up.
It's like instead of wasting energy battling those external circumstances, what if we focused on embodying the feeling of our desires being fulfilled?
Even if we don't see the evidence yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Live from that place of as if it's already happening,
It's like shifting from, I hope this happens, to this is happening.
Yes, exactly. That's the key.
But that takes serious faith, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like really believing it in your gut, even if things look totally different in the moment.
It does. It
Yeah.
takes practice.
Yep.
It's about cultivating that unwavering faith and then backing it up with consistent effort.
So how do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we strengthen that belief muscle?
Well, one way Coherence suggests is through visualization.
Oh, like vision boards and stuff.
It can be as simple or elaborate as you want. The key is to visualize your desired state vividly, to really feel the emotions associated with it as if it's happening right now.
Engaging all the senses.
Right? Exactly. What do you see, hear, feel, smell, even taste in that reality you're creating?
It's like we're giving our subconscious mind a sneak peek.
Yes, exactly. And the more we do that, the more we impress it upon our subconscious, the more it starts to believe it's possible.
It's like we're planting those seeds and then watering them with our imagination.
Exactly. And the key here is consistency. This isn't a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It's a moment-by-moment choice.
So we're constantly fine-tuning our focus, bringing it back to that internal landscape where the real magic happens.
Yes. Every time you catch yourself drifting back into worry or doubt or comparison, what do?
Hit that reset button. It's like we're training our minds to become these like masters of focus. But you know what's really interesting? Goddard doesn't just leave us with mental exercises. He takes it a step further.
Oh, he does. He connects it all to our understanding of time, doesn't he?
Yes, time. It's like when we embrace this whole idea of self-focus, our relationship with time totally transforms.
It becomes less about anxiously waiting for the future or dwelling on the past, and more about recognizing that this moment right now holds all the possibilities.
So instead of being ruled by time, we're almost like stepping outside of it. It's like someday isn't some far-off destination anymore.
Exactly. Someday is created by what we choose to focus on right here, right now, in this present moment.
That's powerful. But it also makes those everyday worries feel a little less significant,
I totally get that. Like when you tap into this awareness, that the present moment is where the real magic happens, you unlock this wellspring of creative power.
Okay, but even when things start falling into place, when those little wins start showing up, Godard doesn't want us to get complacent, does he?
Not at all. In fact, he'd probably say that's when the real work begins. There's always more to create, you know, more to explore, more of ourselves to discover. It's not about reaching some final destination and then just like parking it there.
So the journey of self-focus is never really over. Like, the masterpiece is never truly finished.
Precisely. It's an ongoing process of evolving, of expanding, of becoming more aligned with our true selves.
And as we commit to that journey, to this constant process of self-discovery, what does Godard say happens?
He believes we tap into our greatest potential, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us.
It's like that ripple effect, right? Yeah. The more we embody this awareness, this creative power, the more it impacts not just us, but everyone we encounter.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that the more whole and aligned we are within, the more we have to give, the more we have to offer to the world.
Wow. This has been such a powerful reminder that we're not just these passive observers, you know? We are creators. We have within us this incredible power to shape our reality, to manifest our desires, to create a life that feels aligned with our purpose. And I don't know about you, but that is a really empowering thought.
It is. As Godard so beautifully reminds us, when we tap into that power, when we truly focus on ourselves, on cultivating that inner landscape, we unlock infinite possibility.
So for anyone listening who sometimes feels lost in the chaos of everyday life, just remember this. You are a masterpiece in progress. Focus on your craft, hone your tools, and never stop creating the life of your dreams. That's our deep dive for today, folks. Go forth and create.